We'll call this meeting of October 5th, 2020 to order. The first thing we have is the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. We got Pastor Dan Baer from St. Luke Church with us tonight, and he's going to do our prayer for us. If you would, please stand. Pastor, thanks for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you. Gracious God, we thank you for this day and for this evening and for this opportunity to gather together. And we just pray your blessings to be upon this meeting today. Thank you for each of the council members for what they do, for what they represent, and just be with them in this meeting as they discuss of what is best to do for this community. Just put your hands upon them, guide them, and direct them, and let this be a time of peace and preparation as they go to seek to do your will. For we pray this in your name. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Pledge of Allegiance.
If you can make your sermon, is that short?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor.
All right, roll call.
Mayor Allen,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Broadway.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Present.
Councilmember Polak. Councilmember Matthews.
Present.
Councilmember Ham.
Here.
Councilmember Aycock.
Here. All right, we're all here. You got the minutes of September 8th and September 21 for approval.
Motion to approve the minutes of September 8th and September 21, 2000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed likewise. Motion carries. Okay, next we got presentations, the coronavirus update.
Yes, sir. I'll invite them in. Come on in and maybe at the podium I'll do an introduction for you.
Y'all look pretty official.
Oh, no, not very. Not at this time of the day.
We just dress up, that's all.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
So our city nurse coordinated a coronavirus update with Ms. Shonda Newsom, who is the Director of Infection Control, and Jeff Bronno, who is the Clinical Support Director at Wayne UNC Healthcare. I'd like to personally update you on my status. I can attest to the coronavirus. After experiencing mild flu-like symptoms, I tested positive for COVID before the last council meeting. So I followed the correct protocols from the Department of Health, the CDC, my doctor, and the city nurse, and I was isolated working from home until I tested negative for the coronavirus and returned to work. Lesson learned, I barely felt sick, and lots of people out there, I think, feel the same and aren't getting tested. So if you show some symptoms, I think you should get tested to make sure you don't pass the virus on to others who potentially might not react the same way. So I'll leave it to the experts to explain to you some more about the coronavirus.
Absolutely.
We'll see how expert we are by the end of this. We'll decide. So thank you all for having us. We do appreciate it. I'm just here to kind of give an update of where we are as kind of North Carolina, the county, and then specifically the hospital of where we stand. So if you're keeping up with the numbers, North Carolina is currently sitting at 219,000 roughly cases with 3,600 deaths. Wayne County itself is at 3,582 cases with 71 deaths. That puts us currently 16th place in the state for counties as far as total number of cases.
What place?
16th. Where we've been going back and forth, 16th and 15th with Rowan County. We want to continue to push that down. We want to be 100th. This is the one time we want to come dead last.
Is the prison still part of that?
Sir?
Prison, is
The
it in
prison
that?
is still, yes, that's still part of that number. And so we were at one time much higher in the state. And since that time, I think overall, we've done a much better job of maintaining. The prison did a good job controlling their own population, but it was a number that hit us. So we did get a large number of people. As far as the hospital goes, right now a census of 10 COVID patients, which is actually fairly low for us. Over the last week, our average census for COVID positive patients is about 18 and a half. And so, today was kind of a surprise. We all got there and everybody had gone home. So that's a good surprise to have. I don't think it'll last. It's kind of the only day it's been like that recently. And so right now we got 10. Of the 10 patients we have, 2 of those are critical care. Most of our patients recently have really been medical patients who really just need supportive care, oxygen and things like that, and just not able to care for themselves at home, but haven't needed to be under critical care. But overall, that's been pretty positive for us. As far as the hospital goes and our ability to maintain and function, we started off in a very good position as far as our PPE and our ability to do protect our staff and our teammates, and make sure that we had all of the things we needed to continue to provide care to the citizens of our county. And so we've done that over a long period of time. We've continued to be able to build up our supply. And so we are doing very well as far as hospitals go. With that being said, we're really glad that we've been able to work a few miracles in getting things done. We've been able to donate some of those supplies to people that have needed it, make sure folks were able to take care of themselves, and specifically to some of our partners out there in the community that have had need and have not had the ability that we have had because of the backing that we've had with UNC and the ability to reach out and grab supplies from other places. So we've been able to provide that to others as well. We do have a meeting every week with our county partners. That's the school system, with the college, really with anybody that wants to join. That, you know, we have a large group of people that come. Our military partners are there. And we basically just talk about the things we just talked about, where we are, where we stand, how things are going, if things are working well or things are not working well with us or with any of our community partners. And we want to make sure everybody's involved in that and get the things that they need. With that, I'm going to back away and let Chanda take over.
Thank you. That was a great start there. So I'm just going to go on a little bit more and tell you about the hospital, just kind of inner hospital workings. We do have 2 units that are dedicated to COVID patients inside the hospital. The first unit is for our medical surgical patients, just our general patient population. That usually runs about 15 patients daily. Sometimes it hits up to about 20. Right now, we're at a low spot. We're running about 8 right now, and that is very rare. We're usually running about 15. Our other unit is our ICU, overflow, intermediate care, those patients that need telemetry monitoring, those sorts of things. That unit kind of ebbs and flows also. We've had upwards of 8 patients in that unit. Right now, we just have a couple. Which is good. That's good for our population. That means those patients aren't as sick as they have been. But we keep that unit open. We keep it ready to roll at any time for those critical care patients. The lab testing that we have available in the hospital, we are not doing any outside testing for community, but we are testing inside the hospital. There are 3 lab tests that are available to us. 2 COVID tests, one that we do internally that we can do quickly. It turns over in about 45 minutes. One that we send out to UNC. It takes about 24 hours for that one to come back. The reason we would do that is because the limited supplies that we have for those rapid 45-minute tests, because of the company that sends that to us. Of course, when they made the COVID test, everybody wanted the COVID test. So we're competing with hospitals all across the country for that test. So when we need to get a little extra, we send those out to UNC. We also have another panel that is available to us. It's called a Respiratory Pathogen panel that also has a lot of other regular flu viruses are on there. RSV, which a lot of children get, is on that panel. The COVID test is on that panel. And we can also run those pretty quickly in the hospital, but we do still have a limited number of those, just like the quick COVID test. We're competing with hospitals all across the country for those tests. So we do get a limited amount, but we do have plenty right now to take care of our patients. The testing outside of the hospital, there are a couple options available. You can always go to your provider. There are some I think pharmacies that are offering COVID testing. Just be careful if you go outside of the hospital environment to get a COVID test and make sure it is a proper COVID test. You might want to make sure it is a PCR test. The other tests cannot have as high of a sensitivity, and you can get a false negative test. They run about 70 to 80% on that false negative, on the positive, with about 30% of a false positive there. false negative. Where our tests in the hospital are really close to being 100% accurate the majority of the time. In-house, we have done a total of 7,183 tests. About 30% of those tests have been that rapid test, with the remainder of those being the 24 to 48 hour test. We are testing all of our pre-op patients. The reason for that, for testing all preoperative patients, is because most of them are intubated, which means we're going into their airway. So those patients are at a higher risk for getting coronavirus and for also spreading the coronavirus to the hospital teammates that are in that operating room at that time that they're being intubated. Our percent positive overall in the hospital is running about 9.5%, which is about the same as our community partners are running. So it's about 9 to 10% across the county for those positives. But to go on to getting tested outside of the hospital, UNC has what is called a Respiratory Diagnostic Center, and it is on the grounds of the hospital. I think you get to it by Cox Boulevard. Is that Cox Boulevard? Beside the hospital. You can go to wayneunc.org and take there's a little box on there that you can do a questionnaire, and it will let you know if you need to get tested, and it will actually get you in touch with the Respiratory Diagnostic Center. They will give you a call, make you an appointment. You can either drive up or you can park and go in, and they will actually do that test for you. The turnaround time for that test is about 24 to 48 hours before you will get your results back. But that is a UNC test, and that is a very, the positivity rate on that is just about 100%. I mean, that's a great test. That's the one that we use 70% of the time. The only other thing that I wanted to speak to the council about today, and anyone that's listening, is prevention measures. What we're doing in the hospital is masking, of course, which is what most of us are doing in here today. Masking does not prevent you. If you're outside in the community, the masking is going to prevent those around you from getting COVID. If you're outside of that, if you're within that 6 feet. So the more people that mask, the better off we are if you're within that 6 feet. If you can social distance, like you guys are doing here, I'm very proud to see everybody social distancing. You're also better off if you can do your social distancing. In the hospital setting, we're also having our teammates in the hospital wear eye protection for those patients that cannot wear a mask, cannot tolerate a mask. The portal to our respiratory system is our mucous membranes, which includes our eyes, our nose, and our mouth. So we are providing eye protection for all of our teammates, so that if they have to be around a patient that cannot protect their airway, cannot protect their nose and their mouth, that teammate is protecting their eyes and their nose and their mouth. That was it for me. And any questions from anyone? Yes, sir.
Are we okay on respirators?
Yes, sir. We, and I'll let Jeff speak to that because he's been working very closely.
By you mean the ventilators that breathes for people? Right. Okay, yeah. So right now we're doing very well for that. We currently have 12 patients in the hospital that are on a ventilator. We've been as high as 23. And so when we were at 23, that was a scary few days. Right now we're doing well. UNC as a system has invested in a large number of ventilators that are available to us. We've actually got 3 of those on standby at our facility, and we can reach back into them and get more if we need to. It should be plenty for our need based on the numbers that we see.
What part of the hospital do you go to get tested?
What part of the hospital do you go to? It depends on what you mean by that. So when you say go to the hospital, so the hospital has to order this. If you're in the hospital, it'll be ordered and you'll just stay right where you
I'm talking
are.
about if I just wanted to be tested.
Yes, we don't. The hospital does not do that. There is a respiratory diagnostic center that is run by UNC Physician Networks, and if you go online to wayne.org, or I think it's wayneunc.org, and click on the COVID link, and it will bring up a little box, and you can answer the questions in that box, and it will actually get you in touch. They will actually call you to make that appointment, and you drive right up. It's right on Cox Boulevard, which is right beside the
Well,
hospital.
like 2 weeks ago, or a little over 2.5 weeks ago, I was in City Manager Solomon's office. But I was across the desk from him and I was wearing a mask. Should I have been tested?
Were you over 6 feet from him, or at least 6 feet?
I'd say most of the time at least.
Yes, sir. You should be fine.
Oh,
I just saw-
It's been, like I say,
Yeah.
15 days.
I just saw today the CDC changed their airborne policy. They said that the airborne exceeds 6 feet. Now, I'm not trying to get you along, Councilman
Oh, it's
Aycock,
been 15
But-
days.
but it says that now it's 8 feet, it's exceeding 8 feet.
Isn't that
So,
wild? Yeah,
so we-
I haven't read that today.
yes, so it was in the CDC's report today.
Well,
so-
I'm sure we'll have to change our policies one more time. One more time. There have been a lot of changes. And I wanted to speak to what Jeff said too about our ventilators in the hospital. Pre-COVID, we had a 16-bed, actually it was a 15-bed ICU. And, with our partnership with UNC and the inner workings of the hospital, we have worked to expand that to about a 26-bed unit, which has been a lot of work. That's a lot of work for nursing, it's a lot of work for administration, and it has been a lot of work trying to, get those teammates in there, because not every nurse can go work in an ICU. So we've had to kind of go out there and cull out some nursing staff, and our providers that we have in-house have been great about taking on that extra workload. So we've done a lot of work to get that.
I have
Yes,
a
sir.
question too. Like Councilman Williams said about the distance. Also, I work with the school system, and I think your liaison for the hospital, the only area where I had an exposure, my mother and myself, the only thing they said did not make me eligible as an exposure was the fact that it wasn't 15 minutes at 6 feet. I've
Yes,
not
sir.
heard a time frame of that, but as you know, we can sneeze, and I could be within a second. So where's the 15 minutes? I haven't, where's that coming from?
It is part of the CDC guidance, and it
Okay.
is for non-aerosolizing timeframe. So if Jeff and I are just standing here talking
Right.
and we're within 6 feet of one another, and I just have a short couple-minute conversation with him, neither one of us have masks on, and I walk away, that is not considered an exposure if he were positive and I were not. So they put that time frame on it so that you don't have those quick 1 or 2 minute conversations and walk away and consider that an exposure. They had to put a time limit on it, and that was the time limit that CDC put on that, was 15 minutes.
Okay. Because we came in contact with a person that days later found out they tested positive. We were in their the
Exactly.
proximity, but the fact that, nobody's pulling out a measuring tape to say, am I 6 feet?
Yes.
But quite naturally, I felt that I should have quarantined, but due to the fact that I wasn't 15 minutes, and then
Exactly.
the reporting status, I feel, needs to be updated, because if I'm in contact with Councilmember Matthews and I tested positive with someone else, I feel it's my duty to let her know that, hey, but by policies in certain areas, it's like they don't want you to tell that person directly, but who better to explain the situation than the person that, is that how y'all system works too? That if a person that comes in contact, they're not supposed to tell the individual they come in direct? They're basically banishing that. And I shouldn't.
You absolutely can tell whoever you like.
That's-
And,
okay.
and that is, we actually encourage that.
Right.
If I were to have come into contact with somebody in the hospital setting, and then I went to a birthday party or went home and went, out and about, was with my family, I would actually encourage that teammate to have a conversation with their family, have a conversation with whoever they have been with, to monitor themselves at least for the next 14 days.
Well, that may be a recommendation that's disseminated to the school system, because as of now, per policy, we're not supposed to, we're supposed to go to our administrator, not to the person that we came. So maybe that may be something that you guys
Yes, sir.
let the school system know. 'Cause that's
And
how
I will be glad to have that conversation at any point in time.
Thank you.
I've offered my services, and yes, sir,
I
I'll be
appreciate
glad
that.
to.
Thank you.
Now, what would be some precautions that you would give our community? Because I still see a lot of people walking around, they don't have masks on, and, I just think it's common sense.
I'm going to tell you, as the infection preventionist, I have to be passionate about this, but I am anyway. Mask is the best way to stop the spread of this virus. If every one of us wore a mask when we went out in public, we would be doing a lot better job of stopping the spread than we are doing right now. When I wear a mask, it stops my droplets from going out into this room, which keeps everybody in here safe. So if everybody had that mask on, that is the one thing that I could say. And I go out, and when I'm out in public, and I do it very little, and I'm a very social person, so I like to be out and about, so believe me, it's killing me. But when I do go out and I see people that I work with or people that I know socially, and they don't have a mask on, and it kills me not to say, ask them to please put a mask on for their own safety and for their safety of their family, for the people that they're around when they're at home.
Now, what test did you say was the best, most reliable test?
It's called a PCR test. If you were to get one, that's what I would ask for, is a PCR. Make sure it's a PCR test.
There are 3 types of tests. There is an antigen, an antibody, and a PCR. The PCR is specifically looking for DNA. It is looking for the virus. Yes, sir.
Is that the one they get at Goshen?
The Goshen is an antigen test.
Yes.
It's okay.
Takes about 15 minutes.
Any other questions?
Are you guys doing any marketing to give precaution? Is the hospital giving any marketing throughout the city?
Yes, sir. We have a Facebook page that we do a lot of marketing on. I think we have a couple of billboards that we've done marketing on. We've done a couple of spots like this. We've done some radio conversations. Jeff and I have been on the radio several times at our local radio station. Whatever we're invited to, and we try to get out there as much as we can.
Thank you. Do you know if the county commissioners, I know they were doing a free test at the health department. Do you know what test that was?
I believe
I got tested.
That was PCR.
Oh.
I believe that was PCR.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Yep, I got it.
Thank you. This has been a blessing. I'm glad y'all came here. We really needed,
we will come back
somebody to
anytime.
hear some professional perspective,
Yes, sir.
They just think I'm a crazy guy with a mask on. So.
They listen to me talk long enough, they'll think the same thing about me, so there you
You have a
go.
question?
Yeah, just a couple key points if you could confirm or expound upon. I've heard you can be contagious with the virus 48 hours before you even show symptoms. So that's really one of the problems, is people walking around thinking they're healthy and they don't know they can spread it. So if you're within the 6 feet or 8 feet, whatever the guidance is, you should wear that mask to protect the other person. I've heard 30 to 40% of the cases are asymptomatic, maybe 50% are mild, and then that's the 10% of the cases that have a bit of a problem that might have to go to the hospital. So are those some numbers that sound about right to you?
Those are absolutely correct, and I should have said that when I was talking about the mask wearing, that the fact that you don't have symptoms does not mean that you do not have the virus. And a lot of people that we see, we have tested many people pre-operatively, because that is asymptomatic testing, that have come back positive that had no idea that they were positive or were ever positive. So, even if you don't have symptoms, wearing the mask is of the utmost importance to stop that spread. Yes, sir.
I was doing the numbers this morning based on yesterday's numbers. And of the 207,000 people who have tested positive for it, 2.7% of them died.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right. Yes, sir. Very sad.
All right,
Thank
well,
you.
thank y'all very much.
Thank you
for
very
coming.
much.
Thank
Pleasure.
you all.
Thank y'all for having us.
Have a great evening.
And you know
Thank
what?
you, too.
You know what you guys could do with your marketing? If people have never seen anybody intubated, maybe you need to put an image of somebody being intubated, especially someone that's asthmatic and they get COVID. It's a horrible thing to see that. Maybe that'll wake people up and they'll start wearing their masks.
If I had a magic wand, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
That's a horror scene.
All right, next we have public comment. Melissa, is there anybody out there, or Tim?
Yes, I know there is one, please. Yes.
Melissa, you got your clock on?
Yes, sir. Give me just a second.
Hello.
Podium's right there.
Can you tell your name and your address? Yes, about 5.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Hold on a minute, I'll reset that.
You can start whenever you want, and you got 3 minutes, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Washonda Fryer Oliver. I live at 601 Gloucester Road, right behind Harris Teeter off of Wayne Memorial Drive. I'm here to let you know a little something that happened to me at the planning committee. First of all, I want to thank you for allowing me to speak. And I applied for a permit to operate my salon out of my home. Due to the COVID, a lot of things have changed. The customers have not come back out like we thought they would, even though State Board of Cosmetology said that we can wear a mask, we can do one at a time. They're still scared to come out. So my income has changed tremendously. And in order for me to operate and take care of myself, I would need to work from home. Plenty of my neighbors are working from home. I have a neighbor right next door that is working from home. He is an insurance agent. His business closed down, so he's working from home. People across the street, they're working from home. And I'm just asking for the same privilege, to be able to work from home, not bother anybody, and just be able to maintain. I was denied. The letter said that due to, will not be in harmony with existing development and using within the area in which it is located. There's a daycare right beside me. There's the Girl Scout building right beside me. The walkway from the hospital is come through my neighborhood. How am I not in harmony? There's traffic all the time, but there's not going to be any extra traffic that would harm my neighbors at all. Because one car is going to bother the whole neighborhood. I'm the first house in the whole neighborhood. They won't even pass their house. And I'm not understanding why I was denied.
Well, I can't tell you anything about why you were or not denied. But what I do know is we have a process.
Right.
And did they tell you could take it to Superior Court?
Yes, I am in the process of going to Superior Court, but I thought that y'all need to know that this is going on. And it's just not fair. It's messing with my livelihood. I'm not asking for a handout. I'm asking for permission to work.
Could she ask for a variance?
What?
Could she ask for a variance?
That's what she did.
I think
And the Board of Adjustment turned it down.
So,
I think that I'm sorry, go ahead. I think that the council should, first let me say, I watched that meeting and I watched how you were talked to and how you were treated, and I apologize for that. I didn't think you deserved that at all. And I think, I don't know if we maybe need to look at policy or something, but I wish there was something we could do to reverse that decision. And I encourage all of my colleagues to go back and look at that meeting and see how she was treated. I'm disappointed in our board. I'm
When was
disappointed
it?
in the...
The 31st of August, one even said, oh, I admire your determination. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Because I've been operating a business, I've been doing hair for over 25 years. I got flooded out, I still moved to another place. I worked at a salon for 14 years and then started my own business. I did my time.
I apologize.
Paying taxes.
I apologize too. I saw the meeting and it was a lack of empathy. I saw you were very emotional because you stated that you had to choose between your mortgage and a place that you rent. She currently rents a place. And I drove by the neighborhood, and I saw you are the first house over there. I saw the conditional use permitted, sign in there. And it was Walgreens over there, it's a daycare, it's the Girl Scouts, it's Pizza Hut. All of these businesses are there. You stated that you would have only one or two people coming at a time.
That's the law.
You seem like a very mature individual, that you're not gonna have a bunch of nonsense going on. So I don't see, was it individuals that just didn't want it there?
I think they were saying that the traffic, if they allow me to have a business, how many more would want a business in the area? There's already businesses there. There's already the neighbors working from home.
So you felt as though they're discriminating in some aspect?
Pretty much.
Well, I agree with my colleague. I think that, we should reverse that and have it reheard before she spends all this money to try to take it to the next level. We already know she's in a financial situation, so I think that it should go back to the board and let them rehear it.
I don't have a problem with that.
Well, you can't get us out of line now. I mean, all of a sudden you're doing something special.
No, it's not.
Yes.
Not doing
Can I
anything
finish,
special.
please? You're doing something special. She has a path to go through that she needs to go first, and get the court thing done. And then, if it doesn't work and she wants to come back, then I think, Ron, we could have her back. I don't know. But right now, all her venues have not been exhausted.
But
I don't think there was enough members there that night. I think you said something about that. You said something to them about
a quorum.
the voting.
A quorum?
Excuse me?
Did she say a quorum?
Something about he didn't think they had enough to vote, but they went on with it anyway.
Is there covenants in your neighborhood? Do you know?
They
They did have enough to vote.
They did?
The issue was how many of them had to vote to pass it. I don't remember the exact number. I don't attend the planning commission meetings that often, but it's like a supermajority has to approve it, and there wasn't a supermajority that would approve it. That was the issue. There were subdivision restrictive covenants that were involved.
So Ron, you're our legal eagle here. So Ms. Matthews stated that we should reverse what they stated. I said I concur with her, and we have it go back to the board, the planning board. What's your analogy on that?
The way the rules and the ordinances have been passed, because the Unified Development Ordinance was passed, the UDO, that sets out the procedure. So that's the law of the city. The law of the city at this point is, when she's denied at that point, her option is to file a lawsuit with Superior Court and challenge that decision that way. It's not built in for the council to send it back when you have the comment come back up. There's a procedure that's built in for that. So unless the council wants to pass new ordinances to set out new procedures and new rules, you can't, they're already set, that's what they are.
I complied to all of these city regulations, and to me, I applied to all of them. Everything they asked me to do, I did them. And according to the city, they were not supposed to go on any thoughts. They were supposed to go on the facts only. Not that they thought that it would be an issue with traffic. They thought there would be an issue with me having too many clients. They were supposed to base it on the facts, not base it on what the people said to them.
So, Mr. Lawrence, if there was no super majority, like you said, had to be there, then how did it pass?
They were there, it failed. She had a request for a variance. There had to be a supermajority to approve it,
Okay,
to vote in favor of it.
okay.
There wasn't
She did not.
that number didn't vote in favor of it.
Okay.
Okay, let's say it's 5 out of 7. If 4 people vote for it, you don't get to 5, you don't get the supermajority, so it fails.
Can anybody on that board request it, re-request it? Does that make sense? Do you know?
I don't know, I have to look at that.
According to Jennifer, they could.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you have to, if Jennifer's gonna know all that, because she deals with it on a daily basis. I've probably been to 3 of those meetings in the last 2.5 years that I've done this.
Jennifer confirms they had a quorum. Her homeowner association has restricted covenants that they have to work through, I guess, so.
But that had nothing to do with the city. That should have been left up to the neighbors to take me to court, to stop me, not the city. The city overstepped their bounds, in my opinion.
And I just want to chime in, because I've known Ms. Washandra for years, from my wife, worked in the salon for years together, and we faced the same hardship. What she's governed by is the state of North Carolina Cosmetology Board. And I explained this to my wife also. If they have no problem, the state, I mean, in my opinion, overrules the city or municipality. So and by law, they can only have a certain amount of clients dealing with the COVID, and they have to be appointment only. So that wouldn't even be an issue, because she's governed by, again, the state, because if they come in, her place of business, whether it be her house, residence, or whatever, if she's not in compliance with the state, she would lose her license anyway. So I admire you for being honest, because I'm gonna tell you,
Because they have a lot.
when this thing, there's a lot of kitchen hairdos done, and for you to be honest and, hey, just say I'm having company and wash and do a hair, you know, but you were honest about it. Because initially, when my wife was talking about trying to do it on the slide, I was like, no, we ain't gonna go out of compliance. I don't want you to lose your license. But now stating that you stated and you're covered by the Cosmetology Board of the state of North Carolina,
Exactly.
I would think that you would have a better foot to stand on. Because I'm living with this situation. I mean, my wife was out of work since March. She just got back, 2 months ago? And it hurt us. I mean, it really
Tremendously.
did. Tremendously. So I applaud you
And I'm
first
the only income in my house.
for your honesty, first of all.
I'm just trying to go by the law.
So, but anyway, moving forward, I can support you, Sean. You know I got your back, so.
And
Thank you.
just so you know, we have small business grants that are starting, and you ought to try to get one.
What'd she say, sir?
She's only one employee though,
She what?
which is what I asked earlier. It doesn't cover, it's for 2
Oh,
people.
because you're your only employee?
I have a braid girl, but she rents a booth, so she's not considered.
An employee.
See?
So can we get some clarity on if we are in a position to reverse this back to the board for rehearing? I think that we can do it from what I've heard.
We have to change the ordinance or policy, right?
That's my understanding. Be glad to look at it again. I wasn't prepared to answer that question tonight, but certainly be glad to look at it and see. I mean, I spoke to Ms. Oliver after the meeting was over and told her option to file a lawsuit with Superior Court, but she was asking, what does she do now? And so, and I spoke to her for about 5 minutes and told her I couldn't advise her, but, you know, because I represent the city, but the option for her, under the rules that's been established by this council, you know, is that you take it to Superior Court next.
And I just
And
don't
told her
think,
there's a time
I think
to do that.
I think I could come, from my understanding, I could have came that next week or so to the meeting and had it presented to you, but I never was told that. After the planning committee made their decision, I could have brought it before y'all, but I was never told that until like this week.
What happened to the Board of Adjustment, the planning board turning into the quasi-judicial board after something isn't passed? Wouldn't that be her next step before the Superior Court?
Not, again, not for the rules that y'all passed.
Because
Y'all enacted the Unified Development Ordinance, and that ordinance sets out the rules and the procedure for it.
Because when I think all of y'all remember when I had the issue with my place of business and they wanted me to remove something, then it went to the Board of Adjustment. It didn't go directly to Superior Court. So can we look into that, please?
Yeah, I mean, I said I'll look into it, I'll get back
Thank
to
you.
you.
And then maybe you won't have to go to Superior Court. Maybe there's another step.
I have until the 15th to apply that.
I was gonna tell you, don't give her advice not to file it.
No,
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
I'm filing the,
Okay, because that's what the rules are in place right now, so don't tell her not to do it, because then something comes up and she loses her right to have pursued that.
Okay.
I am filing, but I wanted you to know what happened, that it's not fair. You're making people be in poverty.
I'm so sorry again
We
that
will
happened.
see what we can do to help you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we need to go through these ordinances and policies.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good night.
Mr. Lawrence, do you mind sending me the ordinance? Do you mind sending it to me, the ordinance, so I can read it?
I'll have Jennifer send you a copy. It's kind of big, but I'll have her send you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hello.
Good evening, Council.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
I am here before you again expressing my concerns as a taxpayer of the city. Some say it's petty, I call it pathetic. It is indeed pathetic that some of our elected councilmen still have a problem being respectful to each other. Before I get to that, let me address you, Mayor Allen. Per your last meeting, you made statements about me that is so untrue, lies to be exact. FYI, my name is Sharon Denise Jones Hobbs Matthews, and I'm at liberty to use any or all parts of that name. My profile picture is in fact me. My posts are about my 2 children, who I'm so blessed to have and I'm very proud of. Nothing fake at all about that. In regards to the comments that you said that you have about me, that I talked about you, attacking you for the last 2 years, do you have them?
I do have them, actually.
Could I have them?
No,
Could I
not
see?
tonight, but you will get them.
I will get them.
Brandy will get them.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. If by chance you're referencing the comments I made on Team Goldsboro page, A, they're all true, and B, Team Goldsboro page only came about last year when they was in support of you and some other councilmen. So you're lacking a year, even in that. You must be held accountable for your actions. Now, do you want to apologize now to me for lying on and about me, that that was a fake and I did all that? I guess not. Also, this council voted against doing anything to you for your threatening remarks made publicly at a council meeting a couple of meetings back. And it just so happens that the 3 councilmen that voted to censor Councilman Williams are the same 3 that voted not to have you censored. It's a shame. So let me ask you, Chuck Allen, if pushes you gets you madder, what are you planning on doing with me or the other people that come when we come before you and call you out on your mess? Could you please answer?
I don't plan to respond.
Okay. Councilman Ham, we saw your day of disrespect play out also. I went back and I reviewed some of the earlier meetings before Councilwoman Matthews was elected. And not once did I see, when papers were being handed to each other, that you threw to anybody. Not once did I see that. Could you tell us, to me at least, and I'm sure other people are looking, could you tell us what Councilwoman Matthews said to you when she approached you when you threw the first time the papers at her? No comment. So then that explains why you threw it again. But I can tell you what she said because I asked her. I asked her, what did she tell you? And she said that she was just making you aware, or were you aware of the fact that you threw the papers at her? And what you did in return was throw them a second time. That was so tacky, unprofessional, and very downright disrespectful.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am.
Is my time up?
It is.
I was trying to get to you, Tim. I did call you over a month ago. You did not return my call. I also called Melissa last week and asked, did you in fact get that message? You still didn't return my call. I guess you figured that there was something that you probably knew what I was going to say. I was surprised you because I wanted to discuss something that you didn't know anything about. So I don't appreciate all you all need to be held accountable for what you do. And enough is enough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there more?
Low.
Hi, my name is Nadine McEachern. I'm here on behalf of Mayor Chuck Allen, and City Councilmen. I come forth to speak tonight in support of you. The fact that you have faced with Councilman Brandon and her mother is similar to how they attacked me. I'm letting you know you could be attacked by these two individuals and not be wrong. Because in your case, the tape speaks for itself. I want to share with you and the councilman what happened to me. During the time I was working the primary election at the poll in the month of October 2019, proper description was done to my car. The damage was estimated at $3,000. I made a remark to some of the workers, if I walked up on the person who keyed my car, I would have hit them with a bat. Yes, I was upset and angry. Who wouldn't have been? I didn't say this directly to anyone or call any names. This was a figure of speech. I didn't have a bat, and I do not own a bat. Sharon Matthews and I had some unpleasant words with one another, in which I made a comment concerning her daughter, Brandy Matthews, that she did not like. Several weeks after this incident, Sharon Matthews took a warrant out on me for communicating threats and restraining order. On January the 10th, 2020, my court date, the prosecutor asked Sharon Matthews did she feel threatened and fear for her life. Ms. Matthews responded, yes, I don't take threats lightly. People changes. You never know about people. Then she asked Brandy Matthews the same question. She responded, Miss Nadine used to be nice. She's not the same person I used to know. Sharon and Brandy Matthews both said they were threatened and feared their life. I want it known. I was found not guilty. The reason I shared this experience with you all is because I feel like the retaliation against me because of the remark I made about her daughter. Is this a pattern of Sharon and Brandy Matthews that they do when they disagree with something you say they don't like or choose not to share? The remark that I made, but she may choose to share it if she wants to. And I did it. I read this, and this is for you know, in response to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, you can go right up there to the podium.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
How are you all?
Great.
Good, hope you are.
All right, I am here to give some reflective remarks on Councilman Polak. Councilman Polak and I met back in the 90s at Goldsboro High School where we both were students. He excelled in academics and in leadership. But one thing about him was he wanted to bring awareness and he wanted to bring unity amongst his peers. So when he became council, I did not hesitate to call him on the phone and congratulate him. And then I really wanted to hear his platform to see what his ideas were with his community. So when I talked with him, I soon discovered that he was still on fire, wanting to bring that awareness to the community, wanted to help in any way he could. So shortly thereafter, I was given the opportunity to sit in a meeting that he had with the residents of his particular district. Now in this meeting, they were talking over things that they needed to do or things that he could do to help them with rent, bills, and things of that nature. He even brought in a resource from the outside to speak to them and give them further guidance. Also, I've been very blessed to work on many different projects here in Wayne County, and those projects that were in his district, I've seen him out with the managers, out with those that own the facilities, just trying to find out how to use those resources to help people in his community. What I'm trying to say is I think that Councilman Polak has done a very outstanding job as city council so far. And I know that he wants to see justice and equity being brought to every citizen here in Wayne County. Now, I don't stay too far from Councilman Polak. I would even go home around 5 or 6 o'clock or so, and I would see him out talking with those residents in the neighborhood, shaking hands, just trying to get a feel for what the need is. And I just want to say that I think Councilman Polak has done a very fine job with what he had to do so far. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any more? Who wants to speak?
All right, Taj, what you paying?
I'm trying to pay my light bill.
I think he said the truth.
Last one.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Evening, excuse me, man. All right, a couple things I wanted to touch on real fast. The first thing I wanted to do is talk about what just was said, dealing with the community relations. If I'm not mistaken, just so I don't get this wrong, that's Nicole Simpson Carter, right? Is that okay? She can't be trusted in the least bit. Y'all ought to know this. I know you dealing with a situation with her right now. So to even think that that's okay to put her in any kind of position to deal with where funds are going, that doesn't make sense, not even in the least bit. All right, I don't think that has to be voted upon. I think you guys, that's just a common knowledge. I really can't understand why that is even in the air, or I guess, for lack of a better term, a decision trying to be made. Or I just need you guys to think about that thoroughly. She's not to be trusted at all. She has a lot going on right now, and quite frankly, I don't think mentally she's even capable of handling her job right now. I think she needs to be investigated, highly investigated, and I feel as though that's something that you guys as a board can all come to an agreement to, even though we all know what happened just this past year dealing with Councilman Antonio Williams and the sabotage and defamation of his character. Defamation, of his character. Also, I did want to touch on, I don't understand, I heard that you guys are trying to help him get a lawyer. Y'all didn't try to help him get a lawyer last year when it happened. That's another issue. So y'all think about that too as well, because I'm on a limited time, so I can't really touch too deep into it. But y'all have to think about these things. Stop allowing this corruption to happen. Y'all doing too much. Y'all not doing enough to deal with the facts that are in front of our faces. Okay, she gonna make you mad? What you mean she gonna make you mad? What, huh? You hear you talking to a woman? You feel tough talking to a woman like that? That make you feel big or you bad or something? No? I didn't think it would. Tighten up. Learn how to respect this as a woman on the board. The first one is historical. I don't care if she don't look like you. Tighten up. As far as this whole disagreement thing going on and disrespectful stuff happening and all of that, these things are not to happen continuously. And the fact that they are still happening shows that you guys have not grown as a board. Y'all have not grown. Y'all are still, Ham, you really need to apologize to her. You really need to apologize to her for throwing them papers at her.
Sir.
Whether you meant to do it or not.
Sir.
Because when she said something to you about it, you didn't say anything.
Your time is up, sir.
You didn't respond. You didn't say, I apologize, my fault, let me bring these to you. You threw it again.
Sir, you need to sit down, please.
Just as soon as you apologize.
Mr. Williams.
I'm fixing to have
Time
a
is up.
police escort you out, sir.
Time is up, Mr. Williams.
All right.
Thank you
Listen,
so much.
that's all I wanted to touch on. Thank you. Taj, I need you to talk to me about a couple of things dealing with the Native Americans and that Noose River thing. I need that, if you can hit me up
Mr.
sometime
Williams?
tomorrow. You know I live. I talked to you.
Thank you.
You said he was the last one? Tim?
What's that?
You said that was the last one?
I think that's it. Is that it? That's it.
All right, we'll move on from public comment to the consent agenda.
Okay, consent agenda items C through H are forwarded for council approval.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move. Make a
there a
motion
second?
for consent agendas, item C through H.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mayor Allen,
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Pro Tem Broadway.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Councilmember Polak.
Yes.
Councilmember Matthews.
Yes.
Councilmember Ham.
Yes.
Councilmember Aycock.
Yes.
All right, the consent agenda passes. Next, we have these items requiring individual action. There are none. City manager's report.
It's just like to remind everyone that North Carolina Governor Executive Order 169 is out. Phase 3 went into effect at 5 o'clock on October 2nd. For the city, the biggest impact is probably our GEC can now hold up to 100 people. So some events will be going out there. The H.B. Brown restroom shelter is now open. The Greenway pedestrian bridge is open to the public. And we have 2 meetings this week. The Historic District Commission meets tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. in this conference room. And the Mayor's Youth Council meets the 7th at 6 p.m. virtually. That's all I have.
And you're going to check on our summer youth games. League
Yeah.
play. Okay. All right.
The summer youth what?
You're talking about fall youth.
The summer youth what?
Current sporting activity,
What?
right? Not summer. Current.
What? I'm sorry. I can't hear
The
you.
current sporting activity, correct?
Yeah, for the fall, coming for the fall, right? Right now, we don't have youth games.
Okay, I was wondering, I didn't hear what you said,
In
good.
other towns apparently are having.
Okay.
So a couple people called, that's why we're not.
For Parks and Rec, is that what you're talking about?
We'll go to council members' comments. Mr. Aycock, we'll start with you. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, what?
Did you have a proclamation from earlier, the safety first proclamation? Was that something that you had voted to read?
We made a motion already. We already made a motion to approve that.
During the work session.
Well, I don't even know if I have it.
Did you read it?
That's
You want me to read the proclamation? I can do that.
If you would, please, because I don't have it. There you go. I can't read it. Yeah, that's fine. Let Councilman Williams read it. Go ahead.
Safety First on Halloween proclamation. Whereas it is the desire and responsibility of the City Council to promote the safety and welfare of the citizens of the City of Goldsboro, and whereas the City Council is concerned that our young citizens participate in the traditional Halloween trick-or-treat activities in a safe and orderly manner, and whereas the City Council feels that the best method of promoting a safe and orderly Halloween is through a proclamation from the mayor setting forth guidelines for these activities. Now therefore, Chuck Allen, Mayor of the City of Goldsboro, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim and encourage all citizens of Goldsboro promote and observe the following safety guidelines. Parents are asked to supervise the Halloween trick-or-treat activities of their children and to ensure that trick-or-treat activities are limited to children under the age of 16 years old. Trick-or-treat hours will be observed from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturday, October 31st, 2020. Residents who wish to participate in trick-or-treat are asked to leave a porch light or other outdoor light on during these hours. Parents are asked to explain to children that homes with no outdoor light are not participating in trick-or-treat, and that these homes should be passed up during these activities. It is also recommended for the safety of our children that parental supervision be extended to include instances that children do not consume any treats until closely examined by their parents. Parents should follow the rule. If in doubt, throw it out. Where evidence of tampering with packaging or surfaces of consumables product exists, citizens are encouraged to follow the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services interim guidance of Halloween event organizers, dated September 25th, 2020, to minimize the opportunity for COVID-19 transmission. These guidelines are set forth in the hope that all citizens of Goldsboro will enjoy a happy, safe, and orderly Halloween. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and affixed the seal of the City of Goldsboro, North Carolina, this 5th day of October 2020. Mayor Chuck Allen.
Is it a resolution or a proclamation?
Proclamation, you're good.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the proclamation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. Proclamation passes. Thank you, Councilman Williams, I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
All right, so next we got comments from council members. You want to start?
No comment.
No comment? Mr. Baldwin?
I've got two quick ones. We need everybody to vote and also to register for the census. That's just dollars and cents in our pockets. And we've got to do it. 60% is pretty sad. And the other thing I have is the county lost a real leader when we lost our chairman, Ray Mayo. He was Superman, been out as long as 10 years on the chairman, and we're going to miss him very much. That's all I have, sir.
Councilman Polak?
Yeah, I just want to say you never know when somebody's paying attention. Reese and I went to school together, and I know Councilman Haycott Joe asked how much did I pay him, but really I was unexpected to hear some of the comments that he stated tonight. It means a lot to get encouraging words instead of detrimental words, and you don't know how much, between the 2 weeks of our meetings, sometimes I dread coming because of such negativity. And it's with all of us. And I see it bothers me so much in my community. I would go home tonight, you're gonna see me walking my dog, but people are asking me, what are you gonna do? When are you gonna do this? When are you gonna do that? And like you said, I'm working on so many things, but I just want harmony, and the only way we're gonna make things happen, is if we work together, that's my biggest plea. I'm working with myself internally with issues, school system, things are changing every day. A lot of people out here are scared for their health, safety. There's so many components in life now. 2020 just been a wild year to say the least. So I just solicit prayers for all of the council members, the mayor, city manager. The only way we can progress moving forward is to work harmoniously, and that's one thing I just pray for moving forward. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Matthews?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everyone who came and spoke tonight with public comments. I just have a few things. I want to speak to my district directly, District 4. I hope that you are doing very well, and I have truly enjoyed my time talking to some of you. And it is my hope that I can continue my reach as I continue to make my rounds through the district. And please know that I am working really, really hard to figure out how we can come together and to come together safely as a district. I do want to remind everybody that early voting is to begin soon, and I am organizing transportation for District 4 residents to and from the polls. So I encourage all of District 4 to follow and it's not limited to District 4, but District 4 residents in particular, follow my Councilwoman page on Facebook at Councilwoman Brandy Matthews, because I'm going to update that page every other day with my route, and feel free to let me know if you need a ride. Also, I'm glad that we have representatives from the hospital to talk about masks, because I have masks for District 4 residents that say, "I am a proud resident of District 4." So for anyone who needs or wants a mask, please reach out to me and let me know so I can ensure that you get one. And let's make sure we take care of our elderly population. So if you know of someone who needs a mask, I would love to get one to them. I do want to thank the Kiwanis Club of Goldsboro and all of their partners. They put their name in the hat for a $25,000 playground equipment contest. I probably said that wrong. But it's for the park out in South End, and that is housed in our district, District 4. And the top 10 applicants moved on to the next round, and we were 14 out of 48. So thank you to everybody who voted to get us the equipment. Be on the lookout. I'm going to do some updates because the Kiwanis Club is still wanting to help build up our park for our kids out there. So there's going to be some fundraising and volunteer opportunities. So I'll be sure to bring some more things back to council. I am going to forego my comments to address Councilmember Ham and Mayor Allen at this time. I do want to say that the night that I was sworn in, there was something that I said that kind of stuck out in my mind as I prepared for my meeting today. And I said that I was ready, willing, and able to work with each of you. And I still am. So I really do hope that we can pull this together and do the right thing. So I hope that all of Goldsboro has a good night, and I encourage each of you to go and vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Ham?
No comments.
Councilman Raycott?
Again, I want to send my condolences to the Ray Mayo family. Ray was my contact with basically with the county commissioners, and he and I talked often and talked about issues with both the city and the county. And he'll be hard to replace. And I just didn't know what to think of Friday morning when they called me and told me. But that's all I have to say.
All right. Well, I'd like to just follow up on that. Commissioner Rayo and I have been friends for years, and he was just a straight up, good, honest guy. He worked really hard for the county. He cared really, what went on, what happened, and he was a hard worker for the county. And he also had a small business him and his son had and ran, and had a really successful business out there. And so I'm sure Steve's son's going to miss him as well. But so our prayers are with him. I think the funeral's maybe tomorrow. I hadn't seen that, but I think somebody told me that.
I think my wife told me it was 1 o'clock on Wednesday.
Well, don't let me get the line.
And don't take that for sure, but go to see.
Find out when the funeral is going on if you want to go. All right, well, with that, we stand adjourned, and thank everybody for coming.